Hi everybody. I wanted to come on here and talk to you a little bit about a couple things. One is the astrology and the astrology for the next week, and the second is the Lion's Gate, which happens every year. There's this there's a portal. Let's just be honest here. There's a portal that gets opened up. It gets opened up in our hearts and in our spirit, and it connects us with the galactic center, which is in Sagittarius. So I'm going to talk about why you should know about this, what you can do about this, also the astro energies for this week, and leading up into the partial solar eclipse for next week that's very powerful. So let's start with today. Today we are at the beginning of August. We're leading up to the last quarter moon, which will be in Taurus. What to know about this is that Uranus is in Taurus, and we're getting lots of Uranian activations, and what Uranus does is it breaks things apart in a sudden and surprising way. So surprising that most astrologers can't even predict how it's going to break things apart, and especially in Taurus, because Taurus is a fixed sign and Taurus is a stubborn sign. It's really not going to let up. So if you've been feeling the chaos as of late, it's really, just a time period that Mercury is retrograde, you guys. Mercury is retrograde, and it's right over my rising. So I'm going to try to make this live work, and I'm trying to get it posted, and I'm just going to hope that it works out. But yeah, I accidentally hit on the text, and it took me to the text. So hopefully this live video works for you, and I hope you guys are doing well. Hi, Joy. How are you doing? So this last quarter moon in Taurus is important because the moon, our emotional center, conjuncts and comes right up with Uranus, the great change maker. And we've been in this Uranian, as I said, breaking up cycle with its square. We have Uranus squaring Mars, which is a continuing thing that we're dealing with. And when the great and sudden change maker squares Mars, which is our ability to move forward and have that drive in our lives, things get broken apart that we think aren't supposed to. And also with Mars being retrograde, it's having to rebuild from the center, from the structure, and from this new structure, this new belief system. The age of Aquarius is all about breaking down the old system and rebuilding anew. And what I really want to make clear here is that this isn't the first time that this has happened. There's so much ancient knowledge that is at our fingertips right now that the old system will not make room for. So it has to be broken apart in order for us to reach and get into this ancient intelligence that we've lost. So when you're feeling a little bit confused or a little bit hopeless or a little bit just like things aren't working out for you, it's because that old system's not working out, and we're all having our part. And the more that we can stay with ourselves and meditate and be clear, the easier it's going to be for this old system to finally demolish and for the new to come into focus. Okay, so anything that is truth, it will resurface. And so what has happened is we've built a whole civilization, a whole culture with leaving out this intelligence, leaving out this ancient knowledge, this wisdom, this spirituality, this metaphysical capabilities that humans have, and how that connects us with the animal world, and how it also makes us a little bit different than the animal world. And so what's happening now is all those structures and systems just are needing to go out. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the last quarter moon, because that was just, I went on a rampage. This last quarter moon is it's usually a point of conflict, which is interesting because this last full moon for many people was a very conflictive and very confusing and very active, which full moons usually are. They bring things to the surface. So it's a really good time this weekend, today, tomorrow, to be aware of making a list of lessons you've had so far, and where you're at and what you're learning right now, because the last little bits are being cleared out. This is like the stage in the moon cycle where there might be a last little bit of conflict so that it can clear, and so that you can be clear when you're setting intentions for this new moon that will be on, depending where you are, August 10th or 11th, in that vicinity, so next Friday. And that's also when there's a beautiful meteor shower that you should check out that happens every year. And so it's not, all these things are not by mistake, right? We are in a very powerful time. Every year this is a powerful time. We have the Lion's Gate open, and we also have this ability to watch this beautiful meteor shower. Not only that, this year we're in between eclipses, so we are in between eclipses from now until August 11th, and so it's a very powerful time to just be aware of things that are coming up for you. And then Mercury's retrograde in Leo, in a fire sign, and it's all about integrating things, issues of the past with your heart, and communicating your heart, communicating what's coming out for you, and being really clear and honest with yourself and with others. And this Mercury retrograde will be conjunct this whole big eclipse that we'll have next week. So right now is really a time to just be aware of what's coming up for you, and being very cautious about interacting with others, really taking things in and writing them out and processing on your own before you interact with others. So there's a lot going on. And now I want to talk about the Lion's Gate, which is also really powerful. So the Lion's Gate, why we say it's open, first of all, it's in, we are in Leo season, so it's the heart, the lion, and there is literally a physical structure. I'm gonna have to look exactly what it's called. So it's called the Lion's Gate, and it's in, I have my Wikipedia up because I was like, this is so interesting. So it's the only standing structure in Mycenae. I'm not going to pronunciate that very well, but it's in an ancient civilization built this, right? There's two lions. It's the Lion's Gate. This connects us to where our consciousness, the sun, our heart, because Leo's all about the heart and living from our heart. So the heart, our hearts are open and expanding to this galactic center. So there's literally a portal that's open to access new information, to be aware of things that have held you back in the past. Like so many clients that I'm working with, doing shadow work, and how these voices inside of us are built from this old structure of this civilization that's not working anymore. Like we are coming into a new consciousness. We are all awakening. And so because of that, we have to be really aware of messages coming up in our brain about who we are, what we're capable of, why, you should be doing X, Y, and Z. And also just the shadow, and how the shadow pertains into the ego, and how the ego likes to make excuses for you. Like, oh, you can't do that because you're weak, and it's okay. It's because of this thing that happened to you when you were 5. So the ego will keep us from our dreams, what we want to do, and at the same time, it will tell you how unworthy you are, and be making excuses for you of like, well, of course you are weak because this thing happened to you. So really being clear of the shadow and the ego will keep you from shining, from being who you are, but it will also keep you in a place of satisfaction with that because of the story that you're holding on to. Now, when I say this, I really want you to be aware that I'm talking about this in a very compassionate way, and the way that we do have traumas that need to be cleared, and we do have healing that it needs to be done. As long as we're aware and we're understanding that trauma can live in the body, but the mind will have us suffering. So really being aware of our conditioning and the belief system that we've been exposed to as younger beings and throughout our growing up, and how we can easily fall back into that consciousness. I was just working with a client who had this amazing dream that he was flying and he was doing great, and then somebody questioned him. I think it was like his partner was like, why do you think you can fly? And he just fell. And it's like, we are so sensitive to other people's beliefs about us, and this is a time to break away from that. So for a lot of people, this means a little bit more alone time, a little bit more nature time, a little bit more time to do your own processing and get space from social media, get space from people, get space from the old ways. And so this Lion's Gate is exact on 8/8, the Lion's Gate, but that doesn't mean that we're not in this energy right now, and will be basically until the eclipse. So this is just a very powerful time to get aligned with asking the questions, asking what you've been wanting to know, what you are aware of in your consciousness, and what you want to be more aware of, because the information is available to you. When we have this beautiful trine from the sun to the galactic center, it's like literally our consciousness is expanding, and we have capability to tap into this greater knowledge that's outside of ourselves, but is not outside of ourselves. It's like, if you think of the world and the collective consciousness, there's also the galactic consciousness. So we have this capability to come outside of everything that we thought we knew and really create new ideas and new belief systems. And a belief is just something that we think we know, and so also being aware of people telling you absolutes or you believing absolutes. Nothing is absolute. Life is just life, and there's no right or wrong. And so if you can more and more align with that and understand that that is that's the only truth that there is that it's constantly changing and shifting, and that you just want to be in alignment. Hi, Stephanie. You just want to be in alignment with your own truth. And how do we get to that place? Well, we get quiet, we work with healers, we get out in nature, and we separate ourselves from anything that is making us feel like we're not enough, we're not doing the right things, or we can never be who we want to be, okay? So just getting space from that. Of course, I'm really excited about this Lionsgate and this activation that we're all getting. And so I'm doing a special offer, and that's on my page if you want to go to it. But it's basically a Lionsgate transformation 5-week thing with me. So you get the 5-week intuitive development course, you get 2 chart readings and 2 intuitive healing sessions, and it's just really, if you want to change your whole life and really have support in that and have validation in your path, your gifts, getting more clarity, getting more ease in your life, this is the time to do it. So don't hesitate. It's only available until the 8th. And if you have questions about that, you can contact me or set up a free call. And I'm going to be talking more about the eclipse as we get closer to it next week, but I wanted to first, talk a little bit about this Lionsgate and where we're at right now. So these conflicts that are coming up, it's really important to understand that a lot of it is internal. If we can leave behind the idea of blame or the other and really get quiet with ourselves, we can see that there's a lot of conflicts coming up within. A lot of people are talking about how intense their dreams are right now. Things are coming to the surface, things are coming to our consciousness for us to heal them. So it's really important that you get that space and time to do that. Jupiter in Scorpio is also squaring the sun, and so our consciousness is aware that there's so much more out there for us to tap into, so much more magic and so much more things that we thought we knew changing before our eyes. And so whenever that is happening in a Mercury retrograde, it's really important to get that space and to process things out. And as we move for the sun moving closer to the eclipse and the North Node is in Leo, so we have all these Leo things happening, and so it's really important to know where Leo is in your chart. If you don't know that, you can look up your chart for free on my website. You just go to my website and you go to astrology school, and you can learn more about astrology school, but you can also do your chart for free. And so I highly recommend doing that and knowing where Leo is in your chart. The glyph for Leo, I'll maybe post a picture of it. It literally just looks like it's like a lion's head and then a tail, and so that's Leo, and you want to know where that is in your chart. It's also helpful to know any of the fixed signs where they are in your chart, because they're all getting bling 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 popped up here. And so if you're a Taurus, if you're a Scorpio, if you're an Aquarius, it's a big time for you. I mean, also everybody, but those ones in particular, and knowing where those are in your chart, and if you have planets or placements there. If your 4 directions are set to fixed signs, it's a really hard time. There's a lot of letting go that needs to happen that feels really uncomfortable. So that being said, I'm sick. It's summer and I'm sick, and I'm having to rest a lot more than I want to today and yesterday. And it's a time for just listening to your body and listening to what the body needs right now. So definitely, if you're interested in working with me, set up your free call. I'll post a link below, and know that everybody's going through big times right now. So just the more you can be honest with yourself, giving yourself what you need, and then also being compassionate with others is a really helpful thing right now. Have a beautiful day, guys. Bye.